Hey guys, I am in the backyard by the bee barn, and today I am sifting some compost. When we built the new compost structure, I had a small pile of finished compost off to the side that I decided to rake up into the wheelbarrow. And the wheelbarrow is usually what I set my sifter onto and then sift into it. So I'm having to improvise and set the sifter on top of a small galvanized tub and do it in small batches. And because I'm not over near the compost pile, I can't just chuck these big pieces into the bin, but I'll put them in pots and take them over in a little bit. The reason I am sifting compost today is I'm planting up the empty planters on my front porch and want to add some compost to it. So that is why we are sifting compost. This compost pile that I'm sifting went through the hot compost process where it got between 131 and 160 or 150 degrees. And then once it was fully cooked and it cooled down out of that thermophilic range into the mesophilic range, which is where it's still warmer than ambient air temperature, but it's a whole different set of microbes that start working. You've got more of the fungi that is going to work on lignin, the tough woody pieces. So once it's done cooking, I let it sit in the mesophilic stage until it cools down to the same temperature as the outside air. And once it's there, I still let it sit and cure for another 1 to 2 months. And that ensures that the compost is completely ready to use. It's not going to hurt my plants in any way. That's just how I like to do it. I think most people who compost will agree there does need to be a curing stage where you let the compost rest and break down a little bit more. I'm also looking for bones as I go so that I can do more DIY bone meal. I want to plant bone meal with my dahlias and my tomatoes this year, just to test it out. And I'm not going to buy bone meal. I'm going to make my own from grinding bones. So I already have a pretty decent amount of big pieces coming out of here. I'd like to fill this entire little metal tub to take to the front porch to add in with the planters, and I'm going to put in there some ornamental kale. I've never grown ornamental kale before. My thought was, what's the point? And I actually don't even know. Can you eat ornamental kale? I don't know. Guess I need to look that up, because I'm not usually one for growing something that we normally eat that can't be eaten. I haven't found any bones so far, which I'm kind of bummed out about. I really want to grill some more bones and make some more DIY bone meal. Never have a towel handy. Let me go grab a towel real quick, guys. Better. We built the new compost structure for a couple reasons. You can see it in the background. It's 3 bays. Each bay is 4 feet wide by 4 feet deep by 4 feet tall. And I'm realizing that I never measured how big the pallet bays were that I had before, but the pile that completely filled the pallet bay doesn't even like halfway fill one of these bays. So on the upside, I can make bigger piles, which is better for them heating up. On the downside, turning those bigger piles is going to be much more of a workout. If you have a compost question, feel free to drop it in the question bubble at the bottom. That way I'll be able to see it, because my hands are going to be dirty and I won't be able to really scroll through comments. So if you don't know what I'm talking about with the question bubble, down at the bottom of your screen, if you don't see a text bubble with a question mark in it, there should be like 3 dots. You click that and it'll give you the option of a question bubble, and then it'll give me a notification that I have a question or a comment. All right, I was talking about the planters out front. I'm gonna put in some ornamental kale, but I want to do more than just the ornamental kale because the ceiling of our front porch is so tall and the kale are so short, it's gonna look funny in these big planters. And what is the triple thing they talk about with planters? Something to thrill, something to spill, and something to fill. So the ornamental kale will be the fill. And then I need a thrill. And what I'm thinking about doing is we have a forsythia bush in the front yard. And I always take cuttings in February and put them in water inside. And the branches bloom. It's called forcing forsythia. And I'm gonna do that, but why not take some branches and strip the leaves, kind of damage the ends, and plant them in these front planters, because forsythia is super easy to propagate via cuttings. The thought process would be that they would root in the planter and bloom and be the thrill, like the tall focal interest of those planters. Nope, not a bone. Then I'm still left with a spill. And I think in the winter, it's hard to come up with a good spill option. There's a lot of them for warmer weather. What is this? Look at that. This is, don't know what you are. Onion, I guess. It looks like an onion. I'm gonna go plant that in the garden. Put you over to the side. That's gross. All right. I think I was talking about why we built the new compost system. The reason we built the new compost system is because the old one was made of heat-treated pallets. That's something to be aware of when you are building a compost bay out of pallets. You want heat-treated. The thing is, the majority of the pallets, all the pallets made in the United States are heat-treated. They don't allow chemicals. It's only pallets that are coming from overseas that might not be heat-treated. All you have to look for is literally stamped on the pallet somewhere, HT or heat-treated. The word's heat-treated. Okay, asking about pine needles. No, I absolutely do not put pine needles in my compost. It is not recommended because they take a really long time to break down. It has nothing to do with the acidity. It has to do with like the waxy coating on them, and they just take a really long time to break down. I do not put pine needles in my compost. My compost is primarily made of wood chips, shredded leaves, and for the green, those are the browns. And for the greens, I use bokashi ferment, used coffee grounds, kitchen scraps. I do not use grass clippings for 2 reasons. It used to be 3 reasons. Our backyard used to be chemically treated. It no longer is, but I leave the grass clippings on the lawn because I have no way of bagging them. We don't have a bag for our mower. And they are a great source of nitrogen to fertilize the lawn now that it's not being chemically treated. So I leave my grass clippings on the lawn. However, if you have access to and want to use untreated grass clippings, they are a great source of nitrogen to help your compost pile heat up. Still no bones yet. And the container I'm sifting into probably is not even halfway full. I have a long way to go, but it's slow going with only having this little bit of surface area. I'm not trying to waste this by having it go outside the bucket below. One way to know when your compost is done, one thing it's not always going to be perfect and fluffy and everything is completely uniform. There will still be parts that are not broken down, and that's okay. You can apply it as is to your garden, or you can sift it like I do, just because, you know, I'm extra OCD and I like my compost nice and fluffy without any big chunks. Plus I'm looking for the for the bones, which I'm not finding any. But the ways to know it's done are, there's 3 senses that you just think of. Sight, it should be a rich, dark brown. Smell, it should just smell like clean earth. That's kind of an oxymoron, but it should just smell like earth. It shouldn't have any funky smells whatsoever. And feel. So, you know, there are some big pieces in here, but it's this nice, crumbly, fluffy soil texture. That's how you know when your compost is done. In addition to the fact that the pile is no longer heating up and has had a chance to just sit for a couple months. I have a question. Let me finish this one sift and then I'll wipe my hand off and check the phone. Then I'm going to tell you guys about an interesting story about a magazine that reached out to me, what they wanted, what I countered with, and where things stand. All right, so far I have filled 2 of these of the big pieces that have not broken down. And what's going to happen with these is these are going to get added to one of the empty compost bays so that when I start a new pile, I have this to help inoculate the new pile with those beneficial microbes. Okay. It's hard. I want to have the camera so you can see what I'm doing and then still be able to reach it. Oh, you're welcome. Let's get another spoonful. Bones, where are you? While we were doing our compost build, we got torrential rain for a couple days, and of course, all this compost was in this wheelbarrow, so I have a feeling the bottom of this is going to be super soupy and not good for sifting. That's okay. All right, let's tell the magazine story. My husband and I love to do DIY projects, and we built we call it the timber teepee. We built a wood rack. I posted it on my Instagram. That's how the magazine found it. A wood rack to store all the good seasoned chopped up firewood for when we have fires and it won't get wet. And the reason we built it is because we like the idea of having something unique and that we built. It was a project to do together, and it's very unique. It's very cool looking. I need to repost a picture of it. I'm not gonna say the name of it, but let's call it like a DIY magazine. A DIY magazine reached out and asked if they could use that picture in an upcoming article, and to tantalize me to let them use it for free, they gave me all of their statistics of like how many people get that magazine or subscribe to that magazine, how many followers they have on Instagram, basically saying that I should want to let them use this picture that I took that of a design that my husband came up with. He didn't like find this pattern on the internet. This was 100% his brainchild. And just use it. And here's the kicker. Not in the fine print. It was all in one paragraph. They wanted rights to use the photo, not just in the magazine article, but basically in perpetuity, meaning forever and ever and ever, on all their platforms. So online, email campaigns, if they have any sister companies, those companies can use it. Like partner magazines could use it. Like basically just saying, here's this photo. You can do whatever you want with it for the rest of the lifetime, and we're going to give it to you for free. I wrote back, for that type of photo usage rights, this is what the cost would be. And I said $1,000, which is probably really low, honestly, y'all. And no response. And I thought about it for a second. And then I wrote, however, if you only want to use this photo for this one article, the cost would be less. Let me know if you want to move forward. Crickets. fine. Because I'm sure that there are plenty of people out there who are willing to let them use their stuff for free and hope that the exposure that they're selling them on is going to get them something. I don't know what you think it's going to get you, because a bunch of people seeing one of your pictures, I don't know. But like, this magazine is not having to hire a photographer. They are not having to have someone design an idea for a DIY woodshed, because my husband did that. And it just really irked me that they asked me for this information. I respond with the information they are asking about, and then they don't even say, no, thank you, or we don't have a budget for that, or that's not going to work for us. Like, they just don't even respond at all. And I just think that's so tacky, like so tacky. And who knows? I mean, maybe it's someone that doesn't even work for the magazine. Maybe it's a third party that they've hired to source this stuff, but they're representing that magazine, and I can guarantee you I will never buy that magazine, and I will never work with them in the future. I'm feeling cranky today, I guess. Have you guys? Kate, are you still on here? Because, Kate, if you're still on here, there's a gentleman. I'd like to add you as moderator. I guess. Where you are. There you are. I'm going to see. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. But I'm going to offer you to be moderator and kick out people that are wanting to send naughty photos. That would be great. Let me see if I don't want to sit here and try and find that person's handle. There it is. Ooh. Remove. You're done. Okay, that gentleman is gone. Thank goodness. Thank you, Kate, for already reporting him. Let's get back to compost sifting. The fun stuff, right? Get rid of the weirdos. Oh, my bucket below is getting almost full. That makes me happy. You guys, I bet most of you have already heard this, but have you heard that there is, like, the microbes, there's something in, like, really good, healthy compost soil that mimics serotonin in your brain, so that the touching of it, like having it come in contact with your skin, the breathing in of it, like, actually boosts serotonin levels in your brain. I believe it. Or at least I choose to believe it, because as most gardeners know and have experienced, there is something about getting your hands in good dirt. It just makes you happy. And it makes me, I think it's cool that it might actually be a chemical reaction. I love that. All right, let's look at what we've got so far. I've got 3 little pots full of the big pieces that'll go into the new compost pile that I'm going to build very soon. I'm going to build, so I've got one going that's active. It needs some work. And I'm getting ready to start a brand new one. And it will be made of wood chips, of which I have like 5 piles around the yard. And so it'll be made of wood chips and bokashi ferment. And I'm going to get that started in the next couple days. All right. So my compost sifter is made of 2x4s. And then I put very wide gauge wire on the bottom. I put too big. Okay, it was the holes were too big. They were letting too big of pieces through. So then I put a second, because I didn't want to buy new stuff. I put a second piece, but like off center, like shifted, in an attempt to make smaller holes. And it works sort of okay, but it still lets in some bigger pieces. So while we've been talking, I sifted this. It feels so good. It smells so good. There are, of course, still things that got through the sifter, and there are going to be, let's see if I can find one. There's going to be some bugs. There's going to be some millipedes. There's going to be some roly-polies. Like, what are you? Yeah, that's a roly-poly. And that's okay. So this is going to go to the front porch. Here we go. Can you guys see those little white centipedes? This is going to go to the front porch to add in with the planters, and hopefully those kale will be very happy because the front porch planters get super neglected. I almost never water them. Just can't remember. There's no hose nearby. I just can't remember. Okay. I don't see any other questions. And if that's the case, I'm going to say goodbye. Yes, Lolo Jococo. Sorry, Lolo Jococo. I like that name. Yes, Lolo Jococo. You explained bokashi very well, and I do have a lot of information on it. No, Brian, and thank you for the badge. You did not miss the compost tour. That will be happening on a sunny day, I think. I want to get the YouTube video finished and up first, and then figure out what questions people might have, and then I can do a live and tour the compost structure and explain the thought process and what we did there. All right, I don't see any other questions. And if that's the case, I'm gonna go plant the front planters. What's your career? I don't know, you're looking at it. For any future requests from magazines, consider making your brand a part of all photos. They can't publish without the source. I tried that for a little bit. Oh God, the dog's putting a Remy, stop. Putting a watermark on my photos, and it got really annoying, and I didn't like the way it looked. So I just stopped doing that. I haven't run into an issue of someone publishing it without consent. If that does happen, then I might change my mind. Yes, I mean, I can't say your handle, but I agree. Who is so boring and ridiculous to send naughty photos? But he's gone. Oh, View West, thank you for buying a badge. I was so busy with my compost, I wasn't paying attention to y'all. Okay, I think that's it. All right. The compost and I bid you adieu. Will probably hop on later with something else that I'm doing. Everything today, I'm having so much fun because I got the grocery shopping done, and now everything today is like whatever I want to do gardening related. I'm going to start milkweed seeds. I'm going to plant the front planters. I'm playing with the compost. Maybe I'll even start the new compost pile today if I'm feeling extra athletic and ambitious. Oh wait, I got to empty out this wheelbarrow first because I'll need the wheelbarrow for the wood chips. Okay. I'll talk to you guys soon.